at Niles Scream Park for behind the scenes. We'll be back this evening. You can see their rest of their opening dates. They're open till November 6th and on the weekends. Go to haunted.org and you'll find it. So starting off the behind the scenes tour, and I had to do a voiceover just because of the copyrighted material and the sidebars that we might have done, but this is one of the rooms that you're going to step into. It's like a bones room. It's where they store a lot of the dead bodies or bones, kind of like in an old style type graveyard setting. I don't know what you would call it, but this room is kind of creepy. And then you got this guy up here that's overlooking it. I don't know if he's a Grim Reaper or if he's like a former gravedigger turned rogue or whatever you call those people that wear the hoods, the really religious type of people. Maybe he turned into a demon. And yeah, it's very detailed. It actually looks pretty realistic, to say the least. And then you've got these rotting bodies over here, which is really cool. And a special thanks goes out to Jim, who does a lot of the work for Niles Scream Park. His baby's actually the hayride or the trail ride that they have there. And everything in this place, this is the main haunted house. This main haunted house is basically their baby, and everything that is done is added to, is put into. And I think this is what makes Niles Scream Park, the Haunted Trail and the Field of Screams, these three things to me are like the top notch type of things that you want to find in a scare or scream park. These are 4 different doors that you'll be placed into, as Jim is explaining here on the video, and they hold you there for about 20 seconds. So there's a variety of different rooms covering different types of fears. You're held in there for 20 seconds. Don't want to give it away. And then after 20 seconds, you're pushed through the rest of the maze. And he's just explaining it here. But you can see a lot of the other details on there. And I think that's a Game of Thrones reference with the throne right there, which is kind of cool. When he mentioned it, it was like a spider room, a claustrophobia room. I forget what other rooms there are. But you find out if you actually went through the house multiple times, you might eventually hit all of them. And that was just me zooming in. This is before I actually turned on my light. So you'll see it later on here after we do the main tour. And unfortunately, I wasn't able to film during the live session later that night. But yeah, you see you got Ghostface over here. And then you're going to go into kind of like a movie theater type of feel. So this part over here is a movie theater type of feel. You got a Jason type of dedication, and then obviously the mannequins, which people find creepy. So anything you find creepy, you're probably going to find in this haunted house, which I found very interesting. And this is the movie theater part, where I believe at night, now I didn't go through this section when I later went through it later that night, but you're supposed to be projected onto the actual screen. You'll see here in a second. You got some buttered down popcorn. This guy's really funny. I thought he wasn't as scary as some of the other things I've seen there. And then continuing on, you're going to go into the actual movie theater section. And like I was stating, they actually are going to have like a projector type thing, according to Jim. Now, like I said, I wasn't able to see that per se, because that's one of the effects that they have when everything's turned on. Which turned on means actually turn off the lights and all the effects turning on. But yeah, very detailed in there. And you can see all the dedications of different movies. You have Michael Myers, Halloween. And then this one is kind of a dedication to Hoarders. So if you've ever seen the show Hoarders, this would be kind of a dedication to that. And like I said, they've covered basically all of the fears that people have. So everybody has some sort of fear, even though some people claim they don't have any fears. This one is a space where a hoarder would live at. So Somebody might be afraid of going in a hoarder space because they don't like that type of thing. So I feel like this is one of those top-notch haunted houses, just because of how much details in this. And then they even stacked boxes, which I thought was kind of cool. And he was explaining everything, like how they add to it every year or they change up a couple things. And then this would be like a garden, and not going to give it away, obviously. You'll see what happens later on. But look at all this detail you have. I imagine it's like a Venus flytrap or overgrown type of thing. And then you're kind of going outside, and now you're in like a farm type of setting with a scarecrow, kind of a haunted setting. This kind of reminds me of Jeepers Creepers a little bit. And then you have the one guy who's missing his stomach here, and the various types of tools. The library part that you're seeing right here has to be the most detailed library I've ever seen, just because every single one of those books that you see are actual books, which I thought was really cool. The amount of time it had to take just to place all those books in place and to keep them there had to be an obscene amount of time just on that. And then this effect right here is going to be a tornado. And then that lady right there is very creepy. So if you ever go through the haunted house, that's one of the effects that you're going to see. Basically a possessed librarian. And then he was able to turn on the effects here. Obviously, this is like illuminated paint. So when you turn on the black lights, you get this really cool illumination on the walls, and kind of obviously a Joker reference right there with a ha ha ha. And I did have my kids with me through the first part of this, so I think this creeped them out to the point, even though it was behind the scenes. And then if you have a fear of, what's the next one up here? Clowns. So this is like if you have a fear of clowns, this is the next section over here. And this animatronic right here is so realistic, I thought he was real. And even later on, when I went through it later on in the night, with everything turned on, I forgot that was an animatronic. And when I went past it, I actually thought it was a live scare actor. So that's kind of cool. But yeah, there's just various types of things in here. And the details, like I was saying, are just utterly amazing. Now, if you've been through other Scream Parks, you will notice some detail, but not this amount of detail on it. I would actually say the main haunted house at Niles Scream Park is pretty comparison to something you would find close enough to Halloween Horror Nights. Now, obviously, Halloween Horror Nights puts in a lot of money, but this is a non-for-profit. Niles Scream Park is actually a non-for-profit. And now we're going into what you would call the butcher shop, or what other parks like to call, I can't remember the name, but anyways, there's just various types of effects over here. Now we're headed outside. This is an old hearse that's parked over there. Now this first haunted house over here, and I had the pleasure of going through it at night as well. I would rate it actually really high as well. This is kind of a dedication to Fallout. This is, what do they call this? Nuclear Fallout, I believe, is the name of the house. And it was a really fun house. I had a lot of fun in this house. It's not as scary as the haunted house one, but I would still rate it really high. And the mannequins and the effects are still supreme. And it's more of a fun house. So, like, as I was explained to, like, you start off with, like, if you start off with the left houses and move your way over to the main house, the scares get progressively more and more scary. So you start off with the hayride or the trail ride, which I'll explain here in a second. And then you go over to these two houses, which is this is Nuclear Fallout or whatever it's called. And then there's another house that's kind of dedicated to kind of exorcisms and basically demons. That's the first one, which is actually less scary than this one. And here it is right here. This one's actually dedicated to kind of like a morgue or exorcism type feeling here. And this is actually not their house per se. So there's actually a company that'll come in, and that company actually handles this scream. So you will see here in a second the various types of effects here. And this third-party company comes in and they run this whole entire house, and it's extremely creepy with the lights turned on, with the lights turned off. I think the scariest room for me is not this room, but the room coming up that was kind of a dedication to the Exorcist. And here it is. Yeah, this is like a dedication to the Exorcist. This room right here, I'm not going to give it away or anything like that. So if you go this weekend, it, to me, was a really, really, really creepy room. So I found that to be extremely cool. And then this guy right here. This guy right here was hilarious. And I just think that the way everything is just extremely, extremely detailed. I had a little bit of issues with my camera over here, but I didn't want to miss any of the details while I was doing all that crazy stuff. So that's why I left it on, even if it was in the vertical position. But I'm going to leave it on here so you can kind of see the rest of it here. You're not going to be able to remember all this anyways when you go through it. The main part of this behind the scenes tour is just to give you an idea of how much detail is put into all these houses. And as you can see, you are finding lots and lots of details. Like I would say, this third party one, not as scary besides a couple of the scenes. And then, you know, it gets progressively scary. And then this is Field of Screams. This is like a behind the scenes of Field of Screams, which is a walkthrough type of deal. And it's very long. I would say it's close to like a mile long of walking, but very worth it. There's so much detail, and I'm only giving you a couple minutes of it, just like the other parts of all the other houses. I just gave you a couple minutes of those. And this is like the clown part. So if you have a phobia of clowns, this is the part you're going to have to go through. This is the haunted hayride. So these are a lot of the different details. There's a lot of different scenes in this. This is a long hayride, and you actually sit on bleacher seats, and you'll be facing towards all the effects. Now, this is during the day. This is what it looks like during the day. Special thanks goes out to Carol for providing these photos, because this is one part we did not get to, the behind the scenes. But you can see all the different details. You have Alice in Wonderland. You're going to have like under the sea moment. And there's just a bunch of different details that you'll enjoy if you do go on the haunted hayride, which I definitely do recommend. It's kind of a little bit easier for little kids to handle. So this is a family-friendly park. There's actually no scare areas, which you'll see here in a brief second. But yeah, you can see different details. Definitely check out the haunted hayride. And then we will be going over all the reviews of everything at the end of this video. And then this is the lights on, or lights off, whatever you want to call it. Lights on means all the effects and everything are on and everything like that. But I was able to get a tour of this. So go ahead and enjoy this. I actually went through it alone. I did not know what to expect. And then we will head over to the evening and check out the Midway. So enjoy this lights on part.
There you go. And that you did.
That guy's creepy as hell. Yeah, I understand why you can't have this on.
Yeah.
I'll be honest, I've never actually used mine like this. Usually it handles the night fine. Is that a Game of Thrones type deal?
I think so. Hang on a second. Let me figure out where the
There's one house in That's America. This way? Alright.
Go ahead. Push the button.
Whoa, cricket room. Oh. That's impressive.
Now go this way.
Oh, shit. Fuck, man. I knew he was coming, too. Man, alright.
If you get enough footage to get by, you can go the other side if you want.
Okay, so we're back after the behind the scenes at Niles Scream Park. It's really busy out here already. It's only 6:40 at night. And we are headed into the no reservations general admission line. We're gonna go get wanted head inside, and then we'll show you some of the Midway, and then we'll show you it after it gets dark. Now this is an all volunteer haunted house, so all the proceeds, well, it's on their website. I'll link it below in the description. So as you can see, there's a little queue line here. Like I said, so as you can see, no lighters, matches, knives, gun, mace, weapons of any kind, laser pointers, alcohol or drugs, profanity, cameras or video equipment. Obviously the exception being us, but we cannot bring it inside the haunted house. That's why we did behind the scenes earlier. And that's about as much footage as we're gonna get inside. And we got a Barron County, however you pronounce it in Michigan, County Sheriff here. We're headed in now. Pronounce it. So here's some of the total costs here.
Here, I'll let you do her.
Want to be my friend?
Okay.
Just got done with the main haunted house. Pretty good. We're gonna head into other houses out here. As always, this year definitely a lot of jump scares. This is the main Midway. So you can say this is the main Midway. I'll go ahead and turn it around. But yeah, that house is really good. There's 4 different ways, or 11 different ways you could go. She was just saying hi to us. I'm gonna cut this off though. I'll do an over review.
I hated that.
The first haunted house that we'll talk about is Hooded. This is a paid attraction. Jacob from our team actually went in this last year. It's kind of the same ordeal. They put a hood over your head, hence the name Hooded. And it's a sensory type of thing. So they yell in your ear, you're going to feel things, you're going to hear things, and it's going to attract your senses. Now, I've been told by him this is a great attraction, so definitely check it out. I can't personally rate it, but definitely check it out. This is the last weekend, or next weekend's the last weekend for it. Here's the main Niles Haunted House. I rate this a 5 out of 5, and here's why. There's 4 different rooms that you could start in, 11 different directions, I believe, or 18 different directions, according to Jim, that you could go through this house. It's a completely immersive. I've been through many haunted houses, to include Halloween Horror Nights at Universal Studios Orlando, and I could personally say for Scream Park, they put a lot of work into this house, and this is their baby. This is one of their original houses that was here when they first opened, and they keep on adding on to it every year, and they change it every year. So every year you come back, you're going to get something different. Every time you go through the house, you're probably going to see something different. I went through the behind-the-scenes tour and saw a lot of stuff, and even I wasn't able to see every single little detail of it. I probably missed something out of it. So if you're over and you can only afford one haunted house, this is the one. 5 out of 5. Hands down, one of the best haunted houses I've ever been through. Next up is Nuclear Nightmare. This is a really fun haunted house that kind of goes over, you know, dedication to nuclear movies and nuclear games, to include Fallout, which you saw in the behind the scenes. This was a lot of fun. I had a lot of fun with this. This would be one of the houses that I would definitely revisit to see the details again. Obviously, the main one being the Niles Haunted House. You have to visit over and over again. But I would rate this a 4 out of 5. The reason why it's not a 5 out of 5, because I didn't find it completely scary. But I would definitely check it out And obviously next year might be a little bit different if this house comes back, because they'll have more scare actors due to the pandemic. There wasn't as many scare actors in there, but this is a volunteer haunted house, so it is what it is. But yeah, definitely check this out if you're heading to Niles Scream Park as well. This is a gruesome gallery. Now, this is the one that was done by a third party or outside party. And like I said, it has type of an exorcism type feel, morgue type feel, maybe, what do you call that? A funeral home type feel that's haunted, that has a demon infection in it type of thing. It has dedication to a lot of the different type of demon movies, including The Nun, Exorcist, all of them. Very well done. Not as scary, but the details on it and the effects and what they put in it was amazing. I would give this a 4.5 out of 5. Definitely worth visiting. Check this one out. The Field of Screams. This is that walking attraction I was talking about that has the different areas. This is extremely well done. I love it. I had a lot of fun with this. This is one of my favorite attractions. It was a lot of fun. Some scares, some jump scares, some scare actors. All in all, one of the best experiences I've ever had with one of these walkthrough things. The Field of Screams is amazing. Well done. I know they add to it every year, and I believe it's like about a mile long of walking, so plenty to see. You have a maze. You have a couple cannons that'll go off. Very well done. I give this a 5 out of 5 just for the amount of detail they put into this, and it's definitely a must visit, and definitely don't miss out on this one either. This is the final one. It's called Dark Territory Haunted Hayride. Now, this is what I was talking about. This is more family-friendly. This is Jim's attraction, basically, the guy who gave us the behind-the-scenes tour. Jim has been working on this, and so has Niles Scream Park for a very, very long time. Now, this thing has a lot of detail. It's a lot of fun. A lot of the scare actors actually, if you're sitting in the front row, they're going to go after you the most. I played along, obviously, because that's what I do when I go to haunted houses. But I had a lot of fun. There's a lot of different effects. I wouldn't call them scary effects at all. This is more of a fun attraction type of dedication to like going through a bunch of different movies and haunted scenes. And you have a couple of different jump scares with the cannons and stuff like that. But like I said, all in all, this haunted hayride was probably the least scary out of all of them. But it was the most fun. Like it had a lot of immersion in it. I wouldn't call it a hayride per se, but I mean, that's what everybody calls these things, just because we didn't sit on hail bays or bales of hay or anything like that. But there's a lot of different effects in this, and if I remember correctly, this specific part of Niles Scream Park, I believe, was like a 15 to 20 minute ride. So, I mean, you definitely get your money's worth. Depending on what type of band you're going to get or stuff like that. But definitely check this out. I give it a 5 out of 5 just for the amount of fun I had on it and the amount of detail that was put into the ride. And I think that just this ride in particular, if you're only able to do one or two, do this and the Niles Haunted House. So going over an overall review, I would give this park a 4.8 out of 5. I would give it a perfect. But the only reasons I have is because they didn't have all the scare actors that they would normally have. But I would definitely rate this a top-rated Scream Park for sure. It's in the middle of nowhere. It's actually in Niles, Michigan, about 20 minutes from Benton Harbor, about 30 minutes from South Bend or Mishawaka area. It is a top-rated Scream Park, and like I said, it's an all-volunteer Scream Park, so this is all volunteers that put their time forth in there. So I take it back. I'm going to give it a 5 out of 5 just for that. This is not a Scream Park that takes a profit, so everybody's a volunteer here. All the money goes back into different charities, and like I said, I'll put the link below so you can check out the charities that they're involved in. And I find it really cool, and the amount of detail that's put in here with all the volunteers is just amazing. You're not going to find another Scream Park where you have an unlimited amount of volunteers that are willing to do this for volunteer purposes, and they keep on adding to it every year. So definitely head out. This is the last weekend. Actually, next weekend's the last weekend, which would be November 6th through 8th, and go ahead and check it out. It's really affordable. It's really fun. You'll have a great time. The scare actors are a lot of fun, very interactive, and you actually can take pictures with them as well. I'll put those pictures at the end of this video. And with that being said, thanks again for watching, and enjoy future videos. I'll drop down for Midwest Coaster fans.